In the age that we're living in right now, there are hundreds of thousands of combat veterans. There's also hundreds of thousands of police officers, corrections officers, or even just gun enthusiasts or shooters. They all know how gunplay is supposed to go. They know how weapons work. They know how things are supposed to look or what looks right. If you are not capturing the realism for your projects, you are not going to capture the audience's full attention. They're not going to believe your story. Therefore, you have lost them. B.E.A.T stands for Bullet Exchange Actor Training Program. That's where we take actors that know nothing about military, nothing about guns. We bring them up to the speed that they need to be to properly portray the character the production calls for.
Guys who don't know what they're doing and kind of think they do, they're glaringly obvious.
We see this in movies all the time where people who are supposed to be professionals are handling guns like 12-year-olds. No offense to 12-year-olds, some of them are, fairly talented.
We've seen that difference in other films, and I think our eyes are savvy enough to catch that.
People have a standard of what they want to see, and if they're not happy with it, they're going to turn it off or leave the theater. You have an educated audience that you're trying to please.
If you're going to do a serious action role, you do need to be trained in it. You could be the greatest actor in the world, but if you're not holding your weapon correctly, you're not conveying that role.
Not being trained and having directors just tell you to fake it. After doing the B.E.A.T program, I've realized how incredibly unprofessional and unrealistic that is.
If you're producing a movie and it involves military action or any action in general, I definitely recommend you send your actors in advance to our B.E.A.T program, because if we have time to work with that actor, we can train them specifically for that role.
They train you specifically for what you are going to do.
As an actor, you always want to do like an action film and be like, dude, that'd be awesome. Like, everybody wants to be like the Bond. Everybody wants to be like in the Band of Brothers.
And I thought, man, this is the kind of stuff I need to do. This is the kind of stuff I need on my resume.
For some people, it's going to come easily. For some people, it's not.
Acting like a military expert does not come easy without training.
What I thought was correct was absolutely not correct.
But you can work with people and get the basics down for the scenes that you need to shoot. If you work with those folks again, you can always build on those skills.
It really shows people who are going to be able to sink or swim.
You have to learn it. You have to go through the motions, and you have to force your body to accept it. It has to become muscle memory.
David and Mitch as instructors are ball breakers. It's awesome. They are intense. They're incredibly thorough, and their eye to detail is insane.
If you're training for a war scene, I felt like they really made you hustle and actually execute on a level that you would have to if you were in the field.
The team behind Bullet Exchange are very well-trained, experienced, and devoted to what they're doing.
They're both combat military veterans, non-commissioned officers in the Army, and they've never really stopped displaying that professionalism.
Of course, they're all experts at what they do.
If they think you're not doing it right, they'll flat out tell you. They're blunt, which I admire a lot from them.
They seem to have a definitive vision behind what they're doing.
And just like us martial artists have done years of martial arts, they've done years of the military. For us to try to say, oh, well, we can do that, we wouldn't be able to.
They got the gear, they got the guns, they do research, and it's still fresh in their minds, so they're training us correctly, up to date.
If you're not confident in what you're doing, and if you don't feel like you're really doing things correctly, you start thinking about it too much, and that can really take away from your performance.
As an actor, it's very, very important for me to achieve that degree of realism when it comes to anything I do.
As an actor, I'm always trying to work on my craft as much as I can.
Every professional actor wants to know the background of the occupation they're portraying. I think it is essential to the performance to get as trained in whatever the occupation I'm portraying as I can.
If you're an actor, I would hope that you would want to go through this rigorous type of training, so when you get on set, you're well versed and you look comfortable with a gun on film.
Everything that we know is open to them. So if they want to learn knife fighting, if they want to learn hand-to-hand combat, if they want to learn what's it like to wear this body armor and how would I move in it, how would I handle this weapon, how would I deploy a pistol, or how do I shoot a sniper rifle, how does this M4 work?
I think that sort of training would be very valuable.
From shooting to handling a weapon to running with a weapon, it's very all-encompassing.
How to do convoy operations, squad movements, room clearing, and communication methods used in the military. A lot of it is how to use your gear properly.
You learn a lot of weapons training stuff that's valuable for film sets, and a lot of martial arts training. You kind of learn how to work them together.
A lot of that stuff filters down into the B.E.A.T program, and once an actor is doing it right, it shows.
Trying to portray a military person or someone that's using a gun does not come easily. It's not something that you can just kind of pick up one day and and now you're proficient in it. It's something that takes years and years of training. Now we truncate that into months of training, but it still takes a lot of dedication and a lot of work to get to the point where you need to be.
The BX guys will definitely try their hardest to get you in that mindset and to try to make you succeed.
You know, you're doing rehearsing a play, you rehearse as much as you can in the shoes that you're going to wear on stage, because then you're used to that. You've gotten over the learning curve of becoming accustomed to those things so that the focus can be on delivering the scene as an actor.
As an actor, if you are going to be part of the BX team, you got to be ready for this, or else, you know what? Don't bother.
You need to look like you know what you're doing. If the character's supposed to be a Navy SEAL, they need to look and act like a Navy SEAL and handle a gun like a Navy SEAL would. That's what BX can help you with.
Unless you've really been through this kind of training, it's going to be really hard to fake it.
You can pretend not to know what you're doing when you're trained, but you can't pretend to know what you're doing if you haven't been trained.
I only want to surround myself with the best. David and Mitch, they are the best. Some of the best in town, and they're only getting better.